I still know that within me.
Yeah. Yeah, we sitting here chilling. Everything is everything. This is Down in Sports Talk. You know what it is. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. All right. You ask, we deliver. It's RM Desk right here. That's YADABEAR over there.
Back at another week.
You know what I mean? A lot of stuff to get into. We got to cram a lot of stuff into the show tonight. You know, we're going to go overtime like we usually do. But I want to start off the show, man, with a moment of silence, because we lost two like dynamic people in hip hop. We lost Tame One, and that for me personally is kind of is messing me up right now. He was from the group called Artifacts out of Newark, New Jersey, and Hurricane G. She was like one of the dopest female, not just female, just period, dopest MCs, dopest people. She was in Redman's camp, involved with Eric Sermon and those situations. She was just real good people, and it's just sad, man. And they were like, young Tame was 52, I think. G was 52 as well. So like, wow. We'll have a moment of silence for them. We're gonna try to stretch it out a little bit, all right? Down in Sports. Yeah. All right. So we in the building. Like I said, I'm RM Desk, man. That's Yada over there. All right. The still got the zero. The O ain't going nowhere yet. You know what I mean? The O ain't going nowhere yet. A lot of stuff we want to get into. I'm gonna save my Tame and Hurricane G situation for the end of the show so we can talk about some other things. You know what I mean? On a lighter note, and we can get into what we got to get into. First of all, we're gonna start off at the beginning. You know what I mean? We got the halfway point of the NFL season, so we might have to get into that too.
Yeah.
So as usual, Club 8-0 is open for operation. All that.
At least got extended.
Yes, at least got extended. Yeah.
We're on a week-to-week lease,
Right.
We taking it 1 week at a time. It wasn't the prettiest of wins, playing against a down Houston Texans team, but we was on a short week. We kind of looked out of it in the first half. We went into halftime 14-14 tied up, but it wasn't a comfortable 14. It was like a struggle 14 that we got, and we gave up 14 points easily to a depleted team as in the Texans, and it seemed like we went into the locker room. Our leaders stepped up, said some words, and we came out and we played like the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles that we had from the start of the season. And it was like I said, wasn't a clean win, but a win is a win,
No doubt.
I definitely appreciate, my team bouncing back in the second half, clamp down on the defense. I actually, one thing that I do want to point out is the fact that with our young guy, Jordan Davis, being out, our run defense has been struggling some with that, allowing Pierce over 100 yards rushing.
139, right.
Yeah, which was a hard pill to swallow, to watch. But I did, recognize that we are missing a key part of our run defense and the young guy, Jordan Davis, who takes up a lot of room and who is a beast in that middle of our defensive line. Thank goodness that it wasn't anything super serious. He has I believe like a high ankle sprain. He's still going to be out for a nice little stretch of the season, but he most likely will be back for the long haul, during that playoff run. And we just got to make some adjustments on that defensive line. And plus, it was the first game for Robert Quinn, who we just newly acquired, to be in our system. So I feel like next Monday, when we play the Commanders, or excuse me, the Washington football team on Monday Night Football, that I think our defensive line will be more adjusted and we'll show up better on that run defense.
Okay.
But all in all, I was very happy to see that we didn't give up on the run. Miles Sanders had a really great game on the ground, along with Kenny Gainwell, Jalen Hurts, really relying on Dallas Goedert, got him involved early. He had about like 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. A.J. Brown was able to get a touchdown in there, and he really spread the ball out a lot in the second half. Smith got a couple of catches. Pascal got a couple catches. Kenny Gainwell, along with Miles Sanders out the backfield, got a couple of catches. And, like I said, it wasn't a perfect game. It wasn't a very clean game, but it was a win. He turned the ball over in the first half with that strip fumble that he got by, ironically, Steven Nelson, who was on our squad last year. So he came in and got his little revenge on us. But at the end of the day, like I said, we was able to walk out with that victory, still being 8-0, top of the NFL, and getting ready for next week.
All right. I mean, 8-0 is 8-0 is 8-0. You know what I mean? But you spoke on the run defense. It's been a problem for you guys over the last 4 games, I think. Allowing like 142 and a half rushing yards, and their numbers increase each game. I think, again, it is going to be harder for you guys, I think, to hold that down until, the kid Davis comes back. But if you can get, Javon Hargrave to play like he did when he was the Steelers, then, maybe, that could be a little thing. But that's cool. 8-0 is 8-0. Can't be mad at that. I want to talk about my Tampa Bay Buccaneers a little bit. We finally won a game. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Woo-hoo! Like, you know what I mean? It was better, but it's still kind of rough around the edges. 9 for 21 on third down. Really nothing to brag about. Again, my team is like 23rd in the NFL in third down conversions. So basically, the punter is getting a lot of action. The 30th in red zone offense, and I think that we need to figure out a way to get into these dudes' heads. I see Mike Evans drop a lot of passes. He's turned into an ordinary dude now. I don't want to really hear anybody talk about him on one of the top receiver lists. You know what I mean? I really don't. And this is coming from a Buccaneers fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird what's going on with him this season.
Absolutely. So I'm not really interested in that. Just get us to where we need to get, and that's 500. You know what I mean? So, and then we could talk about that. I mean, situational football still needs to be worked on, but I want to talk about, a couple of other teams around the league now with that at the halfway point. And one of the teams I want to pop my collar on, who I called at the draft, and I said to watch them, was the New York Football Jets. Now, we talked about Sauce Gardner. I said, this dude is going to be the truth. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you said it was going to be Gardner. If I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken. Somebody said Gardner Island or something like that. Somebody said Gardner. I said, not yet.
It's kind of, it's almost looking like that.
Stage. We're not there yet. We ain't at the Darrell Revis. We ain't there yet. But
you're looking very saucy out there because
the Jets secondary is one of the best in the NFL. They held Josh Allen to like 183 net passing yards, which is no small feat. He had a season low quarterback rating of 43.8. I think, DJ Reed, the vet, and Sauce Gardner, the rookie, coming in with and adding the sauce. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, you know, I like when I see some things and I call it and it kind of works out. Now, I know you're gonna hit me in the head with the Detroit Lions because I was all over them. I still am. And they kind of like, you know, got to kind of put a little water on my dead plant there a little bit by, you know, giving it to the Packers. You know what I'm saying? So
Listen.
I still think as far as Detroit is concerned, but you know, the Jets are doing their thing. As far as the Jets are concerned, you know, they're doing what they need to do.
They are winning in spite of
Oh,
Zach Wilson because
I mean, Zach Wilson is keeping his name out of the headlines. He's not throwing, you know, dumb interceptions. He's not catching kissing diseases. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't throw a dumb interception in last week, but in prior games, he has thrown dumb interceptions.
Some joints that be like, yo, what are you doing, B? Like, you know.
Exactly. But I would definitely give them a lot of credit for beating Buffalo. Let's talk about Buffalo real quick because Buffalo was on top of everyone's list in the preseason and the offseason.
Not mine. Go ahead. Yeah, not mine, but go ahead. Mm-hmm.
But like as like favorites, and now it's like that is starting to crumble. They are hurting a lot in the secondary.
And Josh Allen is hurt.
He got an elbow issue going on right now. So that's going to be really key.
What I tell you all about Buffalo, man? I said at the beginning, I said like, I don't trust Buffalo. I told you, I'm like,
And what's so crazy about Buffalo is that as soon as things are not going exactly as planned, they will abandon the run game with the quickness.
You forget Devin Singletary's on the team, and Devin Singletary is nice.
Yes, he's a legit running back, and they would rather Josh Allen run the ball than hand the ball off to Devin Singletary, which is mind blowing to me.
It's asinine.
It is. And they stout defense is just looking like a regular defense now because they learn, like people have learned to get Von Miller out the game, you know?
Yeah.
So he's no longer a factor anymore. Really.
Right.
So it's like it's some issues going on in Buffalo. So
maybe they need to talk to Conway and Benny the Butcher or something. I don't know.
But let me show your Detroit Lions some love because you know
absolutely.
Somebody over here picked them as an upset special for this last week because Green Bay is you know easy pickings right now. I don't know what's going on with Green Bay. The kid Aiden Hutchinson killed it, got an interception. He's really good, you know.
I said that. Let me pop my collar again. You know what I mean?
His future is extremely bright there. In spite of Jared Goff doing Jared Goff things because
and they traded TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
They traded my boy.
But I mean, when you look at that, when you look at the situation with TJ Hawkinson, he put in his time in Detroit. You know, he was
there 3 years.
Listen, 3 years of losing. He put in his time. He played hard every game. He played hard every year.
I mean, you know, it is what it is. He needed to go to greener pastures, but damn, in the division, like, damn, son. I mean, you know, but I like TJ Hawkinson.
I like TJ too.
Go ahead. Are we back on the Cincinnati Bengals? Have they found themselves?
No, I need another game because that to me, that was like a one-off to me, you know. Joe Mixon was out of his mind, you know, rushing.
153 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 receiving. Yep.
Yep. You know, he was running out of his mind. He had one of those.
That's the Joe Mixon that you know. Yeah, that's Joe Mixon. Absolutely.
That's the Joe Mixon that I was like, man,
You killing
We
it,
should
yeah.
draft these. You should have drafted that guy. That's a first round draft pick. But because he had a situation where his hand met some palm color chick face, they want to throw salt on his game when it came out that she said some foul stuff to him that
and she earned that. Yep, that's right.
That she deserved it. And even when the draft had came, I'm like, well, I would still draft him in the first round. He's a first round talent. And for him to fall to the Bengals, I said, well.
Yep. Somebody took a chance on him, right?
Yeah. So he showed everybody last week that, hey, I'm Joe Mixon and I run the football. This is what I do on the field. So I still can't give the Bengals that. Yeah, I need another week. I need another week because I need Joe Burrow to look like Joe Burrow, and he's still not looking like himself. I understand that Chase is out, but you still have two very good receivers in T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and you have a really good tight end in Hurst and Joe Mixon. So I need to see more from him. The offensive line looked a lot better for them last week because that has been a sour spot for them too, and they try to bring in more talent. They brought in the guy from the Cowboys, and it just wasn't working out in the beginning of the season. But now it seems like they're starting to glue together and find a groove. Let's talk about the Chiefs, man. The Chiefs always find a way to win. It's like,
hold that thought. Make sure we talk about the Indianapolis Colts and Jeff Saturday.
We'll
talk about the Chiefs first, since we on an upbeat vibe.
Let's talk about the Chiefs. Yeah, Let me focus on the Chiefs.
Right.
Woo! Find a way to win, And let me throw some respect on my man Derrick Henry, because Derrick Henry single-handedly almost beat the Chiefs by himself. Okay? Like, I need people to really, really put some respect on his name and on these running backs, because to me, running backs are one of the most, I'll say, disrespected offensive players. Everybody looks at the quarterback and the wide receivers. They are the flash, the flash, the glitz, and the glamour. But the running backs are the engine that keeps their offense going. And Derrick Henry is showcasing his skills once again on a depleted freaking Texans team, who again traded away one of the best wide receivers in the league to draft a kid that could be like him when you had him. That still blows my mind that they traded AJ Brown to my Eagles to draft a guy who is like AJ Brown, who could be the next AJ Brown when you had AJ Brown.
Well, I mean, you know how that go. It always happens. People do their thing, and then they go apart, and then they get back with somebody else who reminds them of who they was just with. It's a vicious circle.
Yeah, but the Chiefs, man.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that them not having Tyreek Hill would kind of like affect them in a negative way, but it's like this guy Patrick Mahomes, he's like, he makes everybody better that's around him, and still having Travis Kelce, who to me is the best tight end in the league right now, is ridiculous. And they pulled out their win when it looked like I said, Derrick Henry was going to win the game for the Titans by himself, and here we go to overtime, and here comes Patrick Mahomes making these impossible throws. He's falling down, but he still had enough arm strength to find Travis Kelce for that first down. It was like, this guy is crazy, but I gotta give them, the respect that they deserve.
I think people tend to kind of like Tyreek Hill is the be all and end all when it came to the Kansas City offense. Kansas City had multiple weapons. Mahomes had multiple places to go with the ball. So I think that with the guys that they have now, with the Valdez Scanlons and those guys, they can supplement. They might not be the speed demons that Tyreek Hill, is, but again, they can provide that element, an extra pair of hands for Patrick Mahomes to get the ball to. And again, like you said, Patrick Mahomes is showing his arsenal. You know what I mean?
This guy he threw the ball 68 times. That means 68 times he threw they ran 4 times.
Right.
They ran the ball 4 times. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 68 times.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. But Mahomes, he ran for 63 yards. So
yeah,
I mean, he does his thing. Anything else you want to go to? Because we gotta get some stuff in regards to football. The Raiders blew another 17-point lead. Chicago Bears, Justin Fields is now, he's the darling of the league now. All of a sudden, that was a nice run that he had. Anything else you want to get on? Because we got a lot of things to go, and I definitely want to spend some time on this Indianapolis Colts.
I know. We can talk about the Colts right now.
Okay, let's get it popping. The Indianapolis Colts, right? We talked about it. You talked about it behind the scenes, green room style. We was like, yo, they ain't been right since Andrew Luck, pulled the wool out from, pulled the rug out from up under him. And that's the truth.
Yes.
But Frank Reich was the latest scapegoat in this situation. People they went Phillip Rivers, you know what I mean? They went Carson Wentz. This year's Matt Ryan. Again, I'm not the biggest Carson Wentz fan in the world. I am not a fan of Matt Ryan at all. I have not been from way back. I don't mess with Matt Ryan. I don't mess with Matt Ryan. And, now, I don't mess with Carson Wentz. I like Phillip Rivers. But Phillip Rivers had to go retire because he had to go take care of, his children and all that. Whoa, he'd be wilding. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? So now the Indianapolis Colts have to look at it. They're looking around. Irsay is looking around the room. Kimmy, he's looking around the room. Marvin Harrison ain't here. Peyton Manning ain't here. What's the guy? What was the guy? The 44, the fullback. The guy used to come out the backfield with Peyton Manning and Edgerrin James and all those.
I forgot his name.
I forgot his name. But Edgerrin James is not in this room.
Reggie Wayne not in there.
Reggie Wayne's not in this room. Bob Sanders is not in this room.
Sanders not here.
You know what I'm saying? So he's looking at Frank Reich. Somebody got to go.
You out of here.
Right takes the fall again, even though it's the starting quarterback's fault and whatever else you want to talk about with the Indianapolis Colts.
Man.
But let's get to the part about who they hired.
Listen.
Let's get to that part.
Listen, even before we get to
that part, we're gonna hold up first before we get to that part.
Yeah, even before we get there, the Colts, like I said, they haven't gotten right since Andrew Luck retired. And this is karma for them.
Wright had a winning record, 40, 35, and 1 in 5 years.
But listen here, they haven't drafted or developed any young quarterback.
And they think Andrew Luck coming back.
Listen, let me just start from the beginning. Number one, they had Andrew Luck, right? Superstar. Talented, to bring them guys playoffs, almost one win away from the Super Bowl, all that. It despite of them never drafting the offensive lineman. This guy was getting murdered in the backfield game after game, running for his life, and was still able to produce wins. Yes. My man had all types of injuries until the one injury came and was like, my man had a internal injury to one of his internal organs. Like you are
that ain't funny. That ain't funny.
Like it's not funny, but it's funny because it's like you are killing this guy back here, right? So then he retires. He says, "You know what? I'm still young.
Right.
I'm tired of waking up. My body's hurting. I'm peeing blood. I've got internal injuries. Like I want to be able to live my life. I'm young." Then Ursay has all this controversy with him. We already know what he's up to. You know, he's a problem of his own self. So then they look at it like, all right, well, we're not going to draft a quarterback. We're gonna trade for Jacoby Brissett, young guy. We're gonna bring him in. They don't develop him at all. You know, they just throw him out there, and then it says, you know what? We're going to bring in Phillip Rivers. So we're going to bring in an aging quarterback who's old and who should have been retired 2 to 3 years.
Hey. Watch your mouth about Phillip Rivers. I like Phillip Rivers.
I like him too, but guess what? Phillip Rivers was old.
Yeah, he was.
He was old, so he should have been retired. And then they said, you know what? All right, so that old guy can't do it. We're going to bring in Carson Wentz. And before we bring in Carson Wentz, you know what? We're going to hire Frank Wright. We only hired Frank Wright because Josh McDaniels turned down the job because guess what? Andrew Luck retires. Why would I want to go to?
Why would I go? Yeah, right.
Where the owner, Jim Irsay, is ridiculous. He's doing the most ridiculous things out there. Your starting quarterback, star player, who was a problem for me when I was in New England, retires because they didn't give him no help. So yeah, I'm gonna back out of this opportunity, and I'm gonna stay in New England and win a couple more rings. So then they hired Frank Wright, who came off of a Super Bowl win. They bring in Phillip Rivers. He's old. They trade card.
You gotta stop saying that because they went to the playoffs with Phillip Rivers, yo. I'm just messing with you, but I know you have to.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs, and he's still old.
Phillip Rivers took them to the playoffs.
Then they bring in Carson Wentz. They
Here
you go. They bring in Carson Wentz. He's back with his coach. Woo. My man go down. He can't beat the 2 worst teams in your division. You got to win 2 games to make it to the playoffs. Your 2 worst teams in the whole division, 2 worst teams in the NFL. You know, like just gotta beat the Texans and the Jags. That's it. You look at that, you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make it to the playoffs. We just gotta win one of these games. I ain't actually win both. We just gotta win one. Boom.
At least.
They don't win any of them. Okay, lands a goose egg. He's out. Then you figure, oh my God, you know what? I need another old quarterback. Let me bring in Matt Ryan. He's the savior. Matt Ryan gonna come in here and right the ship, and we're gonna be great. Never mind drafting a quarterback, trading for a young guy, bringing in the offensive lineman, another receiver, something, right? No, we're going to bring in Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan comes in, and it's like, what? Yeah. Yeah. This is, what did you expect? He had one good game, and they're like, oh, Matt Ryan's back. He's going to bring his, relive his great years.
Right.
And Minneapolis, and they're going to make the playoffs, and he just coming back to life. And then it's Matt Ryan. Right. He's old. He's Matt Ryan. So then they bench Matt Ryan, fire the offensive coordinator, and then the following week, you're going to fire the head coach. Frank Wright didn't even have a chance there because he was doomed for the start when he accepted the job with the Colts.
In the beginning.
this team, this is the worst coaching position to accept. I pity whoever their next coach is.
Is he a fool? Will he be a fool?
He will be a fool. And now let's speak about the fool who is stepping in, who has no experience.
Right.
So this is the Steve Nash.
Right. The Steve Nash of the NFL. Right.
I don't understand how a guy comes from off the field in the booth. Now head coach.
Head coach, not assistant coach, not OC, not DC, none of that.
Not a coordinator, none of
that. Head
not
coach.
An offensive line. He's not even a coach of the position that he played.
He played, right.
He's not even an offensive line coach.
Right.
He's not no type of assistant coach. He's not in the training room. He's not in no scouting. None of that. My man came from off the sidelines and doing stuff with ESPN to now being the head coach of these Indianapolis Colts for the rest of the season. What?
I got four words for you.
What?
How you like that? You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy. It's like
it's crazy. It's so crazy that Kirk Cousins had to come out the woodworks. You know what I mean?
Like that.
How you like that?
And it spits in the face of all of
everything. Right.
Black coaches that fight tooth and nail to even get an interview.
See, and what do you think that their excuse is going to be for not even considering a minority candidate? Like they're all the guys that you were considering are in season right now. Right? That's what you tell them. That's what you're gonna say. The same face.
Yeah, all these guys are in season, or
I couldn't talk to Eric Bieniemy because he had a game Sunday night.
This was going to be. We feel that we wanted to bring in someone who's close to the organization, who's close to the team, who the players can relate to. GTFOH. That's what I say about that.
GTFOH.
GTFOH.
Two
times. How I feel about that. Okay? Because it's so many other.
How many dudes that's on that roster that was on the team when Jeff Saturday was playing?
0.
So
yeah, 0. So you telling me that you couldn't promote? I don't know. Let's just say I don't know, the quarterback coach. I don't know, the defensive coordinator. I don't know, the wide receiver coach. I don't know, the D-line coach, the special teams coach, the training manager, the doctor,
the scheduling manager, the traveling secretary, somebody. You know what I mean?
One of the water girls, the Gatorade and stuff. You couldn't promote any of these guys.
Right?
Tight end coach. The O-line coach, defensive line coach, linebacker coach. It's so many coaches on this team. The key word, coaches.
Right.
This team that you could have promote.
And you said it. It spits in the face of all these coaches that work to strive to get those positions, and even if it is for an interim spot, it's still a spot. What I mean? So again, we see what it is, and it's in full effect. It's in full effect. We're gonna talk about your Phillies. Give the last will and testament for 2022.
I mean, listen. Was it a hurt piece? Losing the World Series. Yes, it was. But was it an amazing run to either be in that position to feel this pain? Yes, it was. Do I feel like it was a failure? No, I don't see it as a failure. I don't even look at it as a funeral, as my man over here got on, got the soundtrack on. But I look at this as a stepping stone for us to build off of for next season. It was a great run. As I stated from day one, we wasn't even supposed to be here. Okay, so everybody in the NL, SMD,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now we about to get real.
They're like, oh, really? Oh, yeah. Let's just write these guys off. That's a win. That's a win.
We acronymed out tonight, y'all.
Okay,
GTFOH, SMD. We doing it for the children's.
Exactly. Look at the Cardinals. Get out of here, Cardinals. Look, Braves. Get out of here, Braves. Padres. Get out of here. Where was the Mets? At home, watching it the whole entire time. So everybody in the NL that overlooked us and said, "Oh, the Phillies, we're not worried about them." Well, guess what we was doing? We was playing in November. We was playing for the title while these guys was at home, watching it. And yes, the magic ran out. That's fine. It happens because when you look at the two teams, Houston, they had the talent. They had the talent. We was riding a high. We was playing. We gave it all we got, but we went up against a juggernaut, and we took 2 games from them. Who in the playoffs can say they took 2 games from the Astros? I want everybody who took 2 games from the Astros to stand up. Raise your hands. Oh, did you see that there's only one person raising their hand? There's only one person raising their hand, right? That's the person who stood up the Phillies. Okay, right. We took one in Houston. And we took one at home.
Look at this.
People thought that Houston was going to go undefeated throughout the whole postseason. Well, they didn't. We took at least 2 games from these guys. So that right there is victory of themselves. We are fine with our National League championship, and now we can build off of next season because next season there's a lot of things that's going to change. I feel like next season the whole league is going to change with these new rule changes. People who've been at the top of the food chain, I don't think they're going to be at the top of the food chain anymore because of these new rules. There's a lot of things that we different. The shift is gone. Everybody has to play defense now. Even these
and everybody's going to play each other, which kind of like takes the value away from the World Series. But we'll talk about that when we get to it. Absolutely, you absolutely right. Hit the nail on the head. You should be proud of your team.
Yes.
Absolutely proud of them because only one team could be a World Series loser. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So
Listen, only one team can be a World Series loser, but only one team. But guess what? It's only 2 teams that play in the World Series. So
look at this. Look at this. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying.
Only 2 teams
I'm trying to be nice. You know what I mean? But on the real though, man. On the real, yeah, a great year. It seemed like the magic dust got put on you when Joe Girardi left and Rob Thompson came. It's like the sun came out and everything, kind of fell into place. Everybody was doing what they were supposed to do. It was kind of like a burden guy. I said that. Like a burden guy lifted up his shoulders. You could play freely now.
It was like we was playing like this. And then when Joe Girardi left, it was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is how
how it's supposed to be. Right. And it took you all the way to game 6.
Game 6 took us to game 6.
You know what I mean? You didn't get swept. It wasn't 4-1. You know what I mean? It was 4-2. So you take solace in the fact that you made it to the World Series and now you're defending National League champions. I'm not mad at that. We're gonna get into a little college football. I want to talk a little college basketball before we talk about what we're going to talk about. But the rankings came out about maybe about an hour ago, I think.
Yeah.
And we were talking behind the scenes, and the rankings came out. You got TCU at number 4, Michigan at number 3, Ohio State at number 2, and Georgia at number 1. What are your thoughts on those college football rankings?
I'm okay with it. I understand why TCU is at number 4. They are undefeated. They do have a top 25 win underneath their belt. I feel like Georgia is where they're supposed to be at number 1. Georgia's playing out of their mind. Michigan and Ohio State, at the end of the day, one of those guys not going to be there at the end because they still have to play each other. And most likely, whoever wins will be in that top 4, most likely in the second seed. And then they're going to open up the door for Tennessee to get back into the top 4. Like I was telling you behind the scenes, it just feels great to see Alabama with 2 losses out of the top 4.
Right.
That's barely in the top 10, out of the top 5. It feels good because
Alabama and Clemson, right?
Yeah. Even more with Alabama because of
right.
Nick Saban is and how in the off season how he's pointing fingers. Oh, well, you're giving players money for recruitment and this and that, but my man, you've been doing this for decades, and then the comments he had about Dion down in Jackson State and just him in general, because he's always so smug and all these smug Alabama football fans too. Like, get off your high horse, guy. And, I'm just tired of the same old in the top 4, the top 5, the top 10. So I welcome TCU, being there now. And will they be there at the end? I don't know. Most likely they probably won't, because even though Alabama got 2 losses, as we discussed, if they win the SEC championship, that can bring them right back in the top 4, because we know how this committee are extremely Alabama football top heavy. They always love Alabama. Alabama can have 5 losses and they would still try to make a case for them to be in the top 4. And I'm right. You know it, right?
Right.
It just kills me. So I am hoping, because I am an Alabama football hater, because I'm a Nick Saban hater, because he's a hater of everyone else who's not him. Is that I'm hoping that they lose to Ole Miss and they will have 3 losses. That's what I want to see. But we will see. And I want to say shout out to LSU. Shout out to Bob Kelly for getting that win of beating Nick Saban. All those years he's been at Notre Dame. And, all the years he's been at Notre Dame, and he really, wanted that big win to, like, solidify, his coaching career and to get against Alabama, against Nick Saban. Shout out to them. Well deserved.
I'm going to answer to that. The diehard Alabama fan will say, well, you caught us in a down year. That's not an excuse. All right. Now, to my yearly counterclaim to the LSUs of the world, the Boise States of the world. All right, here comes TCU again, right?
Yeah,
all this is a setup.
Mm-hmm.
If TCU can handle a little prosperity, then they create their own space. Because again, like you said, Ohio State and Michigan are in front of them. They're going to cannibalize each other. All TCU has to do is just keep on doing what they do.
They got to keep winning.
Season to cut. They're down, but they're not down far enough that they can't come back in the game.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Again, at the end of the day, it's going to be up to TCU. They're setting the trap for them, like they did the Boise States, like they did the A&Ms, like they did the TCUs. You know what I'm saying? So again, if TCU can finish, then nobody really has an excuse. But let those teams, the Tennessees, the Oregons, the LSUs, let them finish strong, and then they're going to create a case for themselves against TCU. Why? Because TCU ain't got no schedule.
Yeah, no, they only got one. They only play one guy.
Undefeated. That's it.
Yep.
That's all they're going to say is TCU is undefeated. That's it. So I think, this year where they don't have the Alabama to worry about, right?
Yeah.
But they got a crazy, strong, deep, hard body karate veteran Georgia team.
Yes.
Ohio State team that people really kind of like, the jury's still kind of out on them, and Michigan. Then you got TCU, right?
Yeah,
then you got
the one win.
Huh?
I said, because they only got their one win over Oklahoma State.
Right. So all of that is going to be factored in at the end. So again, where we are right now, we're in the pre-get crazy stage. Everybody who feels like they deserve a shot at the playoffs are going to get a chance to be in that 4th spot. They're going to give you that shot until you lose and you blow it, and they send you back to the end of the line.
Yeah.
So again, that's how that rock. And I feel like, like you said, Georgia, is looking, very, very strong. But I always say that every year, Georgia, does what they do until the lights get on. But again, they showed up. You know what I mean? And again, now is their chance to kind of like to justify that and solidify that spot. Let's get a little NBA, and then we're gonna do a little college basketball, and then we're gonna say what we got to say. My New York Knicks. Shout out to my man, Jalito McCullum. All right, and the Knicks fan podcast that they do, man, every day at 12 o'clock after Knicks games. I told him, I said, look, I'm not jumping out the window, man. I'm from an era where we kind of like build let a little momentum build up, let them build up a little sample size before we give our opinions. And he respected that. And he's going to be on down in Sports Talk real soon. Shout out to the homie. That's the homie from The Wire. You know what I mean? So we try to get Horsey Tarty. We try to clean up the crib and, get some great coupons so when the homie comes through. But, I'm saying give them about 20 games, because, again, they're, when the Knicks play well, they're the greatest thing. I told you this was going to happen. And then when they lose, they stink. So I'm like, give them a little, 20 games. That's a quarter of the season. Then we can see where we're at with Julius Randle. And why is RJ Barrett not being the superstar that y'all proclaimed him to be? You know what I'm saying? And Jalen Brunson situation to see if the money's worth it after 20 games. Because you gotta let him, put some time in. So that's where I'm at with that. The Steve Nash thing notwithstanding, the Kyrie Irving situation notwithstanding, there's still basketball that has to be played. That's being played. What are we doing? What do you think the end result is going to be with the Kyrie Irving situation?
Like it's just it's so draining talking about this guy, but you have to, because he takes the fun out of basketball. When we talked about it a couple of days ago, and they came out with their terms for him, to be reinstated, to come back. He already talked to Adam Silver, and I guess, he has to do his sensitivity classes. But my thing is, like I told you, the ball is in his court now. He has to make a decision in life, not just in basketball, in his life. Either you want to be an activist or you want to be an athlete. You can't do both. You can't be both in this day and age. We already seen what happened with Kaepernick when he tried to be an activist and an athlete at the same time. It didn't work out for him too well. So now Kyrie found himself at this crossroads where he has to make this decision. Me personally, I'll say, my man, retire.
Yep.
Do what you want to do, because you can't. As much as we say that we have freedom of speech, when you are an employee, you do not have freedom of speech. And again, he is an employee of the Brooklyn Nets and of the NBA. This is not the Kyrie Nets. This is not the Kyrie Basketball Association. His name is not on any of this. He works for them. So at the end of the day, what they say goes. It does, to me, it doesn't matter if he's right, if he's wrong. That doesn't matter. The thing is, he is wrong in their eyes because this is their organization. This is their team. It is not his team. He made the money. He has the rings. If you want to be an activist, by all means, do it. He has done plenty of things off the court to help people. You know, I applaud that. But when it comes to him doing what he's doing now and him not showing up on the court, that's where the lines are crossed and it becomes a problem. And it's because he hasn't been producing. He is always something with this guy. And it goes all the way back to when he played those 8 games at Duke. He only played 8 college basketball games. And then he had an issue. Then he got drafted. And then when he got drafted to the Cavaliers was trash. It was horrible until LeBron came back. They won the championship. Kyrie had one shot. He made one shot in Game 7 that made them NBA champions. Yes, he should have won the MVP. Of course, he was balling in that series. I have never, ever said that Kyrie isn't a talented player. He is one of the best NBA players that I have seen. Offensive play, because there's 2 sides of basketball: it's offense and defense. He is terrible defender. He doesn't make anybody on his team better. He is not a leader. He has shown that plenty of times when he left Cleveland to go to Boston because he wanted his own team, and then he got to Boston. He had an issue with Brad Stevens. He had an issue with the young guys. He said, "Oh, I can't play with these guys." And those guys was Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown because they was young. And they had Gordon Hayward. They thought, "Oh, we got the team with Kyrie. No, I can't play with these guys." So then he worked his way out of there, and he went to Brooklyn. And then Brooklyn did everything to appease him. They brought in the KD came. They brought in James Harden. They gave away their whole future for this guy, for him to be hurt, for him to say, "Oh, I need time off." He calling out a word. He can't play for these 2 weeks, but then he can play for these 2 home games. But then when they go on the road, he can't play. And then COVID hit. "Oh, I don't want to play in the bubble. Oh, I don't want to get vaccinated. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that." Now you are retreating something that made the organization feel uncomfortable and they didn't like, and now you feel like you're a victim, that people are attacking you and saying that you are this when you're stating that you're not, but you're promoting that when you put it on your social media platform, that you have millions and millions of followers that's thinking this is what you believe because this is what you're expressing in the world. So I just feel like he needs to retire. I think he should retire. And this is not the first time me saying that Kyrie should retire. And if he does, I wouldn't look at him anyway. I would look at him as a future Hall of Famer, a terrific basketball player, and now an activist.
And someone who stood his ground.
Yeah.
You know, now how's that making those inside out jerseys look? You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. I'm at with it. Like, I mean, and they had every leg to stand on. You know what I mean? Regardless of how it was obtained and the tape or whatever the case may be. Turning your jerseys inside out was some nonsense. was some MONKEYSHIT,
Yes, it
right?
was.
And the other stuff. So
Yes.
I'm going to applaud, like I've been doing, Kyrie Irving for standing on this square and saying, you know what, the money is not going to be a motivating factor for me. I can't be bought.
Yeah.
And I got to respect that. And if he does retire, then I want to see what how the league is going to handle that. Is that going to, is it another player going to, find the gumption and wherewithal to say, I doubt it, because these cats love their money too much.
Yeah.
Hey,
But
look, I
I
stand
mean,
on
he made his
principle.
money. He made
Huh?
his
Yeah, he made
money.
his money. You know what I mean? But
He
again,
made his
we're
mark in the
a
NBA.
capitalist
He got his
society.
title.
You can never have enough money. You know what I mean? According to some people, you can never have enough. So some people are gonna say he blew, whatever $1 million deal or whatever the case may be, and not even, recognize the fact that, this is a principle laden decision. It's not really financial because, like we said, he's not really. That's the least of his worries.
Yeah. Like
Financial. That's the least of his worries. I wanted to talk a little bit about college basketball a little bit before we got up out of here. It was like 5 years ago, and I said that when Georgetown hired Patrick Ewing, I said if they're still talking about Georgetown and Patrick Ewing in 5 years, he did his job. Last year they only won 6 games. They lost their last 21 games of the year. They're expected to really be a bad team. Pardon self. They're expected to be a bad team again this year. I don't think that the landing is going to be soft for Patrick Ewing and Georgetown. He's going to probably have to reestablish himself, because I remember, maybe 5 years ago when people were like, well, he should be a head coach in the NBA, or he should be this, and he should be that, and I was like, nah, let him. He's got cachet at Georgetown. He's in a perfect spot. That's like Hubert Davis in North Carolina.
that's like
But Hubert Davis got national championships.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
just like Jawan Howard in Michigan.
In Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So again, Patrick Ewing, this is, I think, year 5, I believe.
Yeah.
And here we are. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, he's gonna have to do some things, and maybe he'll have to start all over, or give him a second shot or whatever. Because again, a lot of people were expecting him to be bad in the beginning, and he actually wasn't. Georgetown actually had a good team. They made the NCAA tournament and the whole thing. You know what I mean? So again, salute to them. Anything that you see in regards to college basketball as we get ready to start the college basketball season? It's actually already started.
Yeah, it started the other day. It's just so funny how Gonzaga is ranked number 2. Like it's just so crazy how they always put this team on a pedestal, and this one of the best teams in the country. And then when it's money time, meaning the tournament time, where's Gonzaga? First round exit, maybe a second round exit. They haven't really smelled like
They don't make it. They don't make it out the first weekend, right?
Like they just pack one little duffel bag, and then they home the next day. Right. So these rankings, when it comes to college basketball, to me, they mean nothing. I feel like these early rankings.
Right, you're right. You're right.
Means nothing.
Right,
because at the end of the day, it all matters what you do, 1, in your conference, and 2, in the NCAA tournament.
Right, and all it's about is being one of the top 68 teams in the country. That's
it.
all it's about.
Yeah.
If you can't be one of the top 68 teams in the country, and I say 68 because they have to play in. If you can't be one of the top 68 teams in the country, then you don't deserve to be in the tournament. Period.
Yeah, you don't deserve it. And that's why I always say, people are like, oh, yeah, well, Gonzaga's number 2, or North Carolina number 1, or Kentucky is this and that. I'm like, well, that's nice. That's cool. Those numbers are great. But at the end of the day, if you're not winning your conference and you're not making it to the tournament, what are those numbers?
What are you doing? Right. What are you doing?
Them numbers mean anything to me. So that's the way I look at it. I feel like they don't even need rankings in college basketball. It's not college football.
They don't really mean anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because again, like we've had that, we've had times when you have a Duke, maybe a Michigan State, maybe they'll be number one, they'll lose a game and go down to 3, and by the end of the week they're back up to number 1. So but the truth, like you said, the truth comes out in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
the truth comes out in the NCAA tournament. You could be 31-1 and all of that, and you could play a team that was 18-12.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then come tournament time,
you know what I mean?
they didn't ran you off the court.
And then the next thing you know, 40 minutes later, you on the sideline with your face in the towel crying. They wonder how you lost to a team that's 18-12. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
you ran the whole table during the season, but then when it came to tournament time, you won and done.
You won and done, son. So again, that's crazy. Yeah. But we're gonna definitely get into more college basketball as the season progresses. Syracuse is my team. So for those who don't know, Syracuse, you rock with me. Syracuse Orangemen is my team. So here's the part that I didn't want to get into, but we here. As you can see by the artwork behind me, which was done by my man Tame One Artifacts. I don't even know how to talk about this because it bothers me because you have the hip hop acts that people know, everybody knows of, the household names and stuff like that. When you mention a group like Artifacts, you know what I mean, out of Newark, New Jersey, El Sensei, respect to L, hold your head, King. And Tame One and DJ Chaos, rest in peace. That's underground to the fullest extent. I know, Philly, they got their underground groups and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Tame was a dude who, again, touched the mic. You see his artwork, a graffiti legend. Tame One. His is all over the place. Tame One. He was one of those dudes who really, we used to call it getting up. When you threw your name on the wall and you tagged on the wall, we used to call that getting up. A couple of stories about Tame. Just a regular dude. You would see him on the block. I'm over in Newark, New Jersey, recording or going to school or whatever, and I'll be downtown or I'll be in East Orange, and just see Tame on what up, King? Burn something down with him. He was that regular. What we doing, Des? What up? Just chopping up and talking about everything except hip hop. That's the connection you want with these cats. They're known for hip hop or whatever, doing their thing. But when you get with them and you vibe or whatever, it's about how's your mom? Your mom's good? The people good? How you be? That type of thing. First story about Tame. We was at a Zulu anniversary party. Zulu anniversary is this Saturday coming up November 12th. All right. We was at a Zulu party. I think it was at the W Hotel, Times Square. They had just opened it up. I remember that night, Talib Kweli was DJing. I think Bambaataa was DJing. It was at a very, very nice hotel, right? So Cats is on the line, and I'm coming in. I forget who I was there. I was coming in with somebody. I think it might be Queen Pen or somebody else. I was coming in the spot. And I see Tame. And I know Tame from the graffiti and the artifact shit, right? Artifacts. You know what I mean? And like, yo, T, what up? He's like, yo, what up? That's what's happening. We chopping it up. I say, yo, Tame, how much you gonna charge me to do a piece for me? He's like, yo, you buy me 2 Heinekens and we burn something down. I got you. I mean, this is business and we in entrepreneurship, right? But he was like, yo, I got you. He was like, all right, bet. Mm-hmm. Next day, bang, he hit me with it, sent me, shot my email, and did my thing. Another time we was at another Zulu event in Harlem, at the Magic Johnson Theater on 125th Street. And, you know, Jersey respects New York hip hop. Same New York represents Jersey. You know the vibes. You're right next to each other. Mm-hmm. And he popped up. He was like, yo, what up, man? And the vibes is vibes all the time. His mom's, Yo, she was one of his biggest fans. She'd be on Facebook, you know, bigging him up, and you didn't say nothing about Tame. And Tame was always real. He kept it so real and thorough with people, even in his interactions on social media. Like that was him. If you go to his page and the people would, you know, he would say some verses and bars. He was very, very bar heavy, right? He would say something on his page, and people would try to, you know, I guess they want to interact with him or whatever. And he was like basically telling you the GTFOH. You know what I mean? And that's how he got down, man. But, you know, on the music tip, man, very, very, very. And he DJ too. You know what I mean? Respect to, again, whole Artifacts, you know, family, whole East Orange, whole Brick City, New Jersey, Miss Darlene, you know, and again, Rhino, man. I know, homie. I know. You know what I'm saying? Again, man, L, you know, keep the homie, because it's him. He's by himself now. DJ Chaos is gone. Now Tame is gone. You know, and you know, Tame was one of them dudes. Even when, you know, the Artifacts brand wasn't, you know, really popping like that, he was still doing his solo thing. You know what I mean? Weatherman, Leak Brothers. You know what I mean? So again, he was always doing this thing. And Tame was the street dude. L was the business dude. Like he handled, you know, the merch, and he would do shows. He's traveling now, and I hope he's all right. You know what I mean? L is a good dude. Elliot is a good dude. Those are good dudes. Yeah, those are good dudes, man. And just hate to see, you know, to have, he's 52 years old. Yeah. Young, man. You know what I mean? So again, man, you know, whatever the arrangements and the situation, I'm definitely gonna be in the building for that, because, you know, Tame was, everybody loved Tame, man. Much as he, you know, Tame, it was kind of like the opposite of who he was and how he got down. You know what I'm saying? But you know, and he was hip hop. He was the personification of hip hop, man. From the graffiti to the rhyming to the DJing, and just being a cool dude. You know, and he had his aliases, the Naughty Head Terror, you know, Encyclopedia Brown, you know, OG Bobby Johnson. So he was just that dude, man. He was, and if you get a chance or whatever, people out there checking out the show or whatever, salute to y'all. We on StreamYard, Facebook, YouTube. Y'all get to check out the show. Google Artifacts, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you really, really enjoy hip hop. Now we get to the other part. Hurricane G. Yeah, this is crazy. Hurricane G, part of you know, Redman's camp, you know, the early records. Oh, Redman, get off that punk smooth shit. That's her. That's Hurricane G on that record. That's her. She held it down, you know, like we were talking behind the scenes, like about Latinos and hip hop, and she was like one of the ones that held it down, like really, really held it down. That could really, really rhyme and was really good at you. And you know, she you know, is heavily involved in the culture and stuff like that. She was doing some other things, you know, currently, and she was dealing with some, you know, some issues. So she passed away, and I just want to send blessings to her. Eric Sermon, Redman. You know, again, the whole Jersey, you know what I mean? Again, we close to Jersey, you know what I mean? Literally and figuratively when it comes to this hip hop thing. I think sometimes, you know, Jersey and Connecticut, they kind of like give themselves, you know, I call it inferiority complex, when they have no reason at all to have any type of inferiority about being connected to New York or having to go through New York. Yeah, it's true. You had to come to New York and get your feet wet or whatever. But at the end of the day, as many New York groups as you can name Jersey groups who have really, really acclaimed more. Like we gonna start Naughty, Latifah. No, we start there. Yeah. Fugees. What are we doing? You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, I always give props to New Jersey, man, for what they brought to hip hop and continue to bring in Lords of the Underground, Redman, you know what I mean? Poor Righteous Teachers, you know, Lakim Shabazz. I mean, we could go down, the list goes on and on and on when it comes to New Jersey hip hop. You know what I mean? So again, All the Brick City, hold your head, man. You know what I mean? And I hope everybody, comes, turns out for Tame, man. Let's do it for Tame and send him out, the right way, man. And keep his mom safe, because his mom's a great person too. And I just wanted to say that, man, before we got up out of here. And we out on that note. Anything else you want to add before we get up out of here?
Nah, not at all. Nicely said.
All right, so that's what it is. This is another exciting, exhilarating episode of Down to End Sports Talk.
Yes.
I'm RM Dash. You can get at me on Twitter, you know what I mean? But be prepared, you know what I mean? Because Captain Clapback is always in the building. All right, and that's Yada Bear. That's Yada Bear over there. You already know the vibes. You gotta respect that. Club 8-0 got the liquor license. You know what I mean? They got the camera guy in the club taking pictures, handing out roses and all that stuff.
Listen, renew for one more week. Renew for one more week.
They doing it real big right now. You know what I mean? They might add a balcony if they get to 10-0 or something. They might add some extra stuff going on. But
people, don't forget to get your picks in.
Yes, absolutely. Get your picks in. There's another early game this week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Seattle playing in Germany.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, make that happen. It's getting tight, it's getting close. I'm gonna definitely have the standings and the stats of tomorrow. Absolutely, tomorrow I'm gonna have them up, and we'll do that. Look for us down the line. We're gonna have Jalito McCullum. If you don't know who that is, Google The Wire. All right, and you might be pleasantly surprised on what you find. All right, so we're about to slide up out of here. Don't go nowhere. We'll talk to y'all. Carlito, let me know what it is. I got my Code D in the building with me. We ready to come chop it up on some basketball tip. All right, Michelle McKinney, what up? Basketball Fan Club, what up? And we're about to get up out of here, man. Tuesday night, you know how we give it up. Down to End Sports Talk. We are out. Rest in peace, Tame. Rest in peace, Hurricane G.